carrying on before this. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to the ICA Cricket Show, our 19th episode since we started in June last year. The IPL is back and with 2 new teams to boot. It's a 10-team IPL that we're looking at, and we dare say it will not just be bigger, but better too. More so as crowds are limited to 25% capacity. We'll be back at the venues. They were sorely missed in the last couple of years. The on-field action will be restricted to the state of Maharashtra, but we can bet our last rupee that the entire cricketing world and more will be tuned in come Saturday evening for this 15th edition. To take us through what to expect, we are privileged to have with us in our virtual studio the trio of Sabah Karim, Amol Muzumdar, and Nilesh Kulkarni. Great to have you all on board, gentlemen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While Sabah and Amol have graced this show before, it's the first for Nilesh. Like Amol, Nilesh, who also played 3 tests and 10 ODIs for India, is an out-and-out Mumbai talent. If Amol ended with 11,000 odd runs, first-class runs to his credit, Nilesh picked up nearly 500 wickets in first-class and list cricket with his orthodox left-arm spin, just sent out from a great height. I don't know how tough it was to play you, Nilesh. And just like Sabah went on to achieve many heights post his cricketing career, including being the BCCI's GM at one point, and he's now, of course, with the Delhi Capitals, Nilesh has gone on to establish a sports management institute, the International Institute of Sports Management. How did this come about, Nilesh, this institute?
Purely by accident. I was not getting an IPL contract. I was about to retire, and I had no other option because I was not good enough in commentary. Neither I felt that there's too much competition with my fellow cricketers into administration and other roles. I had to do something different. And the idea germinated from that thought of creating something. But on a serious note, I think the part was the introduction of IPL actually gave the wings to this thought. Because, looking at the opportunity when the overseas people were getting contracts to manage IPL, none of the Indians had that bandwidth. And that particular thought got triggered off in our mind. And that's how we started traveling and collecting information, how we can put an educational institute into existence and create a manpower which is required for sports in India to groom and grow.
Great, Nilesh. I'm going to get back to you on that a little later in the show. I think it's an interesting aspect what the IPL has triggered off. To get back to the IPL itself, Sabah, you're obviously closely connected with one team, but you, being a scout, you would have to look at all various options available before the auction. These are absolutely new. All teams are rejig. How do you see the auction going? In the sense, which team do you think came away with the best, kind of personnel from the auction? And how do you think the teams stack up as such?
Satish, before I comment on this, delighted to be back again on this panel. And I'm extremely honored to share this platform with my 2 good old buddies, Nilesh Kulkarni and Amol. Amol right now is the head coach of the Mumbai Ranji Trophy side. And Nilesh, I'm very proud of him because he comes from our stable, and for him to spread education and to spread knowledge is wonderful to see. And the way his institute has come up, many kudos to him and to his team. Now, in terms of the IPL auction, Satish, well, you see, once the auction is over, all the teams feel that they've done an incredible job. But eventually, it is the work of the coaching staff in the way they find the right kind of combination, they inspire the cricketers, to get together in a very quick time so that they're able to perform. And I think most of the teams, they do go through separate sets of challenges. The biggest challenge right now in this season is the availability of the foreign players. And some of the players or some of the teams, you may have noticed, so they've had to find replacements. So to get everybody together and to find the right kind of combination from the first game itself is going to be a big challenge for all the teams. But I do feel that because there's the inclusion of 2 more teams, it will give many more opportunities to all those domestic cricketers who were, although part of the squad till last season, but never got or hardly got any opportunity to play in the 11. This time around, because the number of teams have gone up, I do expect most of these youngsters who were in the reserve last season to get a look in the 11. And I think that offers a great opportunity for these youngsters to excel and to do well for their respective franchises.
Well, I'm taking off from what Sabha said. Obviously, it's a rebuilding thing for each thing. More people will get opportunities, especially with two new teams around. But do franchises look at it as, take Rajasthan themselves, for example. Would they look at it as a long-term game in the sense, because this is a fresh team, would they want immediate results, or would they be looking at, say, we'll build a side, it'll take time, maybe the results will be better next year? Would they look at it that way also?
But there will be teething problems for every side. There is no doubt about it. The newcomers, the two teams which have come up in IPL, there is bound to be some teething problems. But eventually in the long run, they all settle down, and there will be some challenges for sure for these new teams. Because probably the other teams, some teams like CSK or Mumbai Indians, they do have a settled not just the players, but also the administrative side of it. They're well settled. They know the ins and outs of IPL. And I keep believing, and I keep saying this all the time, that IPL is a beast of a tournament. There's no second chance in an IPL tournament. So it can really kill you if it doesn't go your way, or it can give you amazing high if it falls in your bracket. So I think it is a double-edged sword, IPL, but I'm sure these teams will come up with a lot of solutions and look at the problems in a positive way. There will be some problems, no doubt about it, but I'm sure they have the capacity to overcome it.
How do you compare coaching a Mumbai side to an IPL side? What's the main difference? I know this is a short tournament, but pressures are also massive. So can you take us through that part?
Here I would take the opportunity, Satish, and probably take the liberty of saying this, that in an IPL side, we should soon see a Indian head coach. I'm sure there are there are few legends who are head coaches of certain teams, but there are a lot of foreign coaches who take the plum positions. And I feel that as you asked me this question about leading or coaching Mumbai and coaching an IPL side, is it any different? I don't think it is much different. You're just handling players. It's just a high profile of those players that you need to take care of. And if you're good enough to do it in a side like Mumbai, or if in a side like Delhi, or any side, any competitive domestic side, if you're a head coach over there, and I'm sure that you would be able to handle the IPL pressure as well. It's a myth that we need to crack, and sooner the better.
Great. Nilesh, before I get into the IPL per se with you, again, taking what Amol has said, IPL has actually thrown up a lot of opportunities for, it's made cricketers massively financially secure. That's one aspect. But there is a big thing around the whole structure of IPL where opportunities have risen, and more so for Indians also. Mainly I would guess with institutes like yours. So does IPL take a lot of your curriculum, in your institute? And what are the opportunities that it gives actually?
See, there is no direct link of the curriculum part, but what happens is IPL offers a lot of opportunities. So just to give you the numbers before pandemic and now, before pandemic, probably the number would be about put together direct, indirect, full-time, part-time, contract jobs is about more than 20,000 people used to get involved during the 3 months of IPL. And that's a lot. That's some serious number we are talking about one particular event. Talk about franchise people, talk about BCCI, partners, associates, sponsors, across all these people who are involved in some form or shape in IPL. You would talk about 20,000 plus people are engaged in one event. And that creates a lot of opportunity. Like Amol was involved with Rajasthan, Sabha is now involved with Delhi Capitals, he was with BCCI. So good to see a lot of cricketers also donning those key roles and driving that initiative, like Amol and Sabha both said. So for me, that is very exciting and encouraging to create a job opportunity post-retirement also. Gone are the days where you only had handful of opportunities for you to make a career post your retirement. Now you have enough and more opportunities to actually upgrade yourself and successfully drive that particular role. Like I'm just giving a comparison. Saba was BCCI GM. He was wearing a different cap. Now he's a Delhi Capital scout, so he'll have to wear a different cap. Amol was wearing a Rajasthan Royal coach cap. Now he wears a Mumbai Ranji Trophy coach cap. So there are a lot of differentiations when you put the filters in it. And these are the skills which are required for you to be a successful manager, coach, assistant coach, administrator, talent scout, so many opportunities.
Because, ICA, one of our, main aims is not just the financial part, but it's to get our cricketers, former cricketers, more opportunities like this. So maybe Nilesh will have a separate show once where we can talk in length about the
More than happy. And we have good ambassadors like Saba and Amol and so many cricketers who are associated, whether with state, with BCCI, with IPL franchise, and doing it successfully.
Right.
Satish, you should please check with Nilesh before you invite him again, because it's far too expensive for an organization like ICA to accommodate him. So please check about his professional fee. In fact, when we want to call him, I'm telling you, even when Amol and I try and call him, we have to seek appointment before that. So, we are extremely privileged that he's agreed to come on this panel on such a short notice.
No, we had a secret, Saba. We got his ex-student. We got his ex-student who already paid his fees to him to get him to come on.
But no, Satish, I get this information from the ex-GM of BCCI. So it's a valuable information.
My smile says it all.
Guys. So
commercialization of cricket is the BCCI's forte.
Very, very true. I will not say anything more. Nilesh, your take on the teams, the 10 teams this time, which do you think, I'm not looking at favorites and all that, but from your point of view, which is the best team or which are few best teams?
I think it's very interesting. Like Amol just now mentioned and Saba mentioned, the likes of Mumbai Indians and CSK have settled with their core. The Delhi Capitals are now coming up with their strong points of retaining their core and their strategy with the support staff also. But it'll be interesting because the players have been split. And they're thinly spread. Earlier with the 8 teams, you always had that core pool of players. Now it's with 10 players, is more opportunity for youngsters. So it's a very exciting phase, especially with the people who wanted to invest into a strategy have gone somewhere else. So that makes it even more challenging how to balance the entire strategic part. For me, that's the most exciting part to see in this edition of IPL.
Sabat, just to go on the CSK and Mumbai, what is their formula? They've really done well, 5 and 4 titles each and all that. And we had mega auctions before. So it's not the first time the teams are being rebuilt. They're allowed to retain 4 or 5 players those times. But what makes them tick? These 2 teams have been phenomenal.
I think more importantly, Satish, it all depends on the kind of environment you create within the team. And I think that is the responsibility of the owners, the team management and the coaching staff. And both CSK and Mumbai Indians, if you look at their administration staff and their coaching staff, they believe in this kind of continuity. And that is why they've been able to produce such great results. This time around was my first experience of sitting on the auction table. And whatever I could gather is that CSK and Mumbai Indians, they follow a particular strategy, which is very player specific. For instance, if they have to buy an X player, they will go all out to buy an X player. The other teams, to a large extent, they had a role specific kind of a strategy. So if you notice CSK, they went for specific players. Same with Mumbai Indians. They believed that they had to get Ishan Kishan. They went after Ishan Kishan, whatever may be the price. So their strategy is more specific in terms of getting a particular player in the 11 or in the squad. And they've been blessed. They've been able to find the right kind of talent or experienced players who have produced good results for them. But this time, taking a cue from what Nilesh has just mentioned, and I think rightly so, although I hardly disagree with whatever Nilesh said most of the time, is that it will be a great challenge for the youngsters this time around to step up, because from 8 now the number of teams have gone up to 10, and there will be in terms of the spotlight on the youngsters to perform well. I'm talking about the domestic talent, so that it projects the fact that India is very rich in talent. So now it's up to the domestic talent to come good under the circumstances. So I feel that for IPL, in terms of quality, this will be a huge exercise because we are spreading so much now. Yeah, but at the same time, it will show the true worth of Indian domestic cricket.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that has always been on my mind. Will we be able to keep the same quality when you have two new teams? So, Amol, you wanted to say something on this?
No, the reason why Mumbai Indians and CSK have they are allowed or they are privileged to go after one particular player, and they can, because they have retained the core for a long period of time, and there are certain teams who wanted to do a complete overhaul of the team. So that's probably one of the reasons why they have been so successful, and they've kept it going. You know, there's been consistency in not just their performance, but their work ethic as and from the administrative side as well. You know, the reason why they went after particular players and they were allowed to go after them, it was because they have their core intact. They have their strategy intact. Some of the teams, some teams like RCB or even Rajasthan Royals for that matter, they wanted to do a complete overhaul of the team. You know, if you see, a lot of players have been missing out of those teams who were prominent players in the last 10 years or so for those franchise. So, you know, they wanted to do a complete overhaul of their thinking and their work ethics as well.
Yeah. All this domestic, this spreading of IPL now to 10 teams. So this is one of the questions on my mind. Sabha mentioned very clearly. You've been in the circuit now for a long time. What do you think? This enough talent that so we've done the right thing with these 10 new teams? Is it going to be a challenge?
It's going to be a tough one to say at the moment. Probably if you ask me the same question in July, I would be able to reply in a much better way.
We'll get you back in
IPL, but I personally feel that the reason why IPL has been so successful in the last 12 editions or whatever editions it has been, it's because of the quality of players, the quality that it gives us. The best players in the world turn up over here, and the best players in the domestic circuit and the Indian players, you know, Indian team players have taken part in the tournament. And that's one of the reasons why IPL has been so successful, you know, with regards to other, tournaments in the world. It's because of the quality that it produces. And I just wonder whether it may dilute probably with with those two teams coming up, because then the quality of players spreads out. You know, we'll have to wait and watch. There is talent in India, there is no doubt about it, but whether it will withstand the IPL pressure, we'll have to wait and watch.
Yeah, because it's always, see, I have been associated in different capacities with both the Kabaddi League and the ISL. The advantage of Kabaddi and cricket was the world's best players are here, you know, in both. So that's not the case in football.
Sorry to interrupt you, Satish, but if you see the quality of the teams now, I don't think if you just go back to the IPL auction and see the teams on paper, I don't think Mumbai Indians have got the best team at the moment, barring some amazing players in the lineup, like somebody like Jasprit Bumrah, Rohit Sharma, Kieron Pollard. You know, those 3-4 names would ring the bell. But other than that, you know, if you talk about Mumbai Indians in the last 10-12 years, they've been amazing in the lineup. You know, if you don't have you know, say for example, if you don't have Rohit Sharma, there was always a Quinton de Kock to take over. There was always somebody else to take over. But I think Mumbai Indians have, you know, if you see the lineup now, it's not that threatening. That is why I feel that the talent has spread out.
No, very true, because the rejig has done that. I think it has evened out things a little more. Because these teams, I mean, they were settled teams, so they were able to dominate. So Nilesh, what Amol was saying, Mumbai Indians, actually the bowling except for Bumrah is completely new. You know, they have none of their earlier bowlers. The batting has got somewhat because Rohit, Ishan and Pollard are still there. There's some kind of continuity. But this is going to be true of most teams, right?
Absolutely. I think if you go with the complete plan of action and see the championships won before, it's the bowlers' contribution also, along with the batters. And if you don't have a good balance with all-rounders and the strike bowlers, they always back their strike bowlers to win the match for them or bail them out from a particular situation. In this situation, it's going to be challenging for Mumbai Indians, for sure. I mean, Bumrah can only bowl 4 overs. What about remaining 16 overs? They need to come up with a good plan as well as the backup plan. And that's going to be a key challenge. And the strategy needs to be worked around all those areas because, even if you have good batters, they have invested in Rohit Sharma, Suryakumar Yadav, Kieron Pollard, Ishan Kishan, who will help them, survive in difficult situations someday or the other. But with regards to bowling, making sure those 20 overs count is going to be a tough ask for Mumbai Indians and the bowling unit of their support staff.
That's what Rohit has actually said. What he has said is, look, bowlers may be new, but they're not new to IPL or T20 cricket.
Yeah, but there's always a pressure. There's always a pressure and a responsibility. Responding to critical situations under pressure. Who comes up? It's an opportunity. Obviously, it's an opportunity, but we'll have to wait and see how they respond to that pressure situation.
I want you to address one leadership issue. Again, with your background, I want to get you on that. Hardik Pandya being named captain. I mean, is it a fantastic move or it's going to cost them?
It's an interesting move.
That I agree.
Demand and not the capability to say it because he's not successfully doing that a lot for even Baroda. So to see him lead the side, of course, he's been there with the Indian team for quite some time. So he understands the process, he understands the situations, he understands the overall atmosphere creation within the group. But it'll be interesting how he leads the side. It's a challenge which we will have to wait and see because in this situations like in the past Virat, Rohit, or others, to a large extent, KL Rahul also could not handle. As an individual player, he was very good, but as a captain, he probably didn't have that kind of a success which he deserves. So it'll be interesting to see how Hardik respond to that leadership because in my opinion, I still have my 50-50. It may have a potential, but I'm still not going gung-ho about how he will, unless he gets a very good support from his support staff to handle the peripheral situation with the strategies. But end of the day, a captain has to lead that on the field, which decides and defines those key moments.
No, interesting. He has said that his philosophy is that someone is doing well as a captain, I will not bother him. He's down as a person, I'll be available. If he needs me to hold his hand, saying that's a motto I would like to follow. He speaks also quite interestingly. Somehow you agree with this move of?
These are good standard quotes at a leadership level, which Saba and Amol have been doing successfully well at the corporate levels at many places. So I've heard that many a times from Saba as well on air. So it's good part to hear, but it's another part to see it implemented.
So see, he's also said, success is theirs, failure is mine. But I'll give you an example. Somebody who actually did this. In the first year of IPL, I think Rahul was leading Bangalore. Every post-match, they lost almost every game. Every post-match conference they lost, Rahul would be there.
Yeah.
He would address the press. The 1 or 2 games that they won, he sent the man of the match or somebody else. And he actually, very funnily, there was no question asked. Rahul already started off saying, because one guy raised his hand. Rahul started his answer, no, we didn't get it right today. But yes, Rahul, I have not asked the question yet. It has become so routine, but he was there.
But that's Rahul Dravid for you.
Yeah.
He's had the experience of leading the side. He had, when he was playing IPL, he had already cost 10,000 runs. So we've been there, done that, and seen it all.
But still, it's such a tournament. It's a beast of a tournament again, I would say, because it just, if it doesn't go your way, it can really mount on you. The pressure, the money pressure, the IPL is something else, I would say, all other things are different. It just keeps on mounting. And as a captain, it's a tough ask.
And that's why I've reserved my comment about Hardik.
For me, Satish and my friends, I think it is heartening to know that there are so many Indian captains now in this IPL league.
Yes.
And I think that is so heartwarming.
Yes.
And it is challenging, but I'm glad to see that the team owners have realized the credibility of all the players, and they feel that they do have the requisite leadership skills to lead an IPL team. And going back to IPL strategy for teams, I feel that each game is kind of treated like a final. You possibly can't ease off and say, okay, 1 or 2 games here and there, I can still claw back. It doesn't work like that. So that is why all the coaches and the captains, they really have to be, on their toes all the time to try and get the right kind of combination, the right tactics, the right strategy in place, so on and so forth. And going back to what Amol had to say about the quality of domestic players, I remain a bit skeptical about it at this point of time, because I watched all the domestic white ball cricket this season. I feel there are, in modern T20 composition of a team, there are 2-3 slots which are very essential and very important for the team to succeed. And most of us are aware of that. For instance, the middle order slot of number 5, number 6, very crucial, because you need such kind of clinical power hitters who can accelerate, who can play according to the situation, and who can also finish big. So that kind of talent is a rarity even now. Level. There are only 1 or 2 players who for IPL. So that is why India has got rich talent, but there are some specific slots that needs to be looked into. Now I'm glad that Mumbai has got Amol as the head coach. I'm sure he will do all that, because modern T20 is a fast evolving game, and you need to remain ahead of the opposition all the time. And for that, you need to find the right kind of match winners for different slots who are able to help the side to succeed.
Yeah, Sabha, one last thing about this Hardik thing. I want is it going to be a burden on him? In the sense, would he be better off, he's just coming back from injury and all that, to evolve more? He's not yet the finished product. So is the captaincy a burden, or would it be just the right responsibility?
I look at Rishabh Pant. When he was named the captain last season, no one thought that he's a finished product. Same with Shreyas Iyer when he became the captain of Delhi Capitals. In fact, he became the captain in midway, because Gautam Gambhir left, and then Delhi Capitals made him the captain, and he did such a fabulous job for Delhi Capitals. So I look at this as an opportunity for him. It is a fresh management, a fresh team with a fresh set of coaching staff, and he'll be able to implement his own ideas. And I think it's more important for him to have open kind of a communication with the coaching staff and the players, and the kind of character or the kind of personality which Hardik has got. I'm sure he will be able to share the pressure and take it more as an opportunity, because he does have the right kind of credentials to take the team forward. And to buttress my claim on this, Hardik, whenever he was in good form or he was fully fit, he did prove himself to be a match winner, especially in white ball cricket for India. And I think he would love to take that form in this current IPL also.
Oh, great. Okay, you're right. He at least got a completely new management also to work with. So everybody is going to be new. But the opening game, Amol, is between 2 teams with pretty old management. Both Kolkata and CSK have their coaching staff in place for some time now. Of course, we've seen additions here and there coming in. But for CSK to start off with, no Deepak Chahar, their biggest buyer and things like that. So their plans will be slightly set. They didn't go for Raina, which I think was expected this time. But what do you make of the CSK team this time in specifics to the opening game?
A little different than what we've seen CSK over the years. Of course, there is an X factor which involves CSK all the time. But I feel without Raina, Faf, and Deepak Chahar, they were important components of Dhoni's success. So I think they will have. Then again, after a big IPL auction, there will be teething problems even for some teams like CSK or Mumbai Indians, because the basket was massive at this time in the auction. They could not keep the core intact. So I feel there will be a lot of problems without these players, but I'm sure they will find the solutions, because they will always carry that Dhoni factor along. You cannot discard that. There is some Midas touch, as we have always said this, with when it involves Mahendra Singh Dhoni, he will find some way out. But it will be interesting to see how he comes out of this situation, because he's probably on his last legs in cricket, I guess. He's been goodbye to international cricket. It was really difficult for him to sustain that quality in the last IPL edition, what we saw. But then again, it's Dhoni. You cannot discard him. With regards to KKR, I think they are more settled side. They are more vigilant about what is happening around them. In the last 2-3 years, I feel that they have come of age in the last edition of IPL, where they qualified for the finals, and they've thrown in some young, amazing talent. They will be minus Shubman Gill, mind you, but there are some exciting talent in KKR. They miss out on Dinesh Karthik as well this year, so it will be interesting to see how these teams react to the absence of some important players, which have been the part of their setup.
I think the more interesting part about KKR is the fact they retain thing. They could two all-rounders from foreign shores and Venkatesh Iyer, and of course, Varun Chakravarti, the mystery spinner, so to say. So they got that part, I think, quite right, because the all-rounder is going to play a huge role. Nilesh, you agree with that take?
Yeah, see, I think that's where the balance comes in. I mean, everybody is investing into a right balance for sure. Like Sabha just now mentioned, I personally feel that if there is a missing link, it creates an opportunity for others to grab that. And that's how these youngsters have stepped into the big shoes of the likes of Shubman Gill, the likes of when Bumrah was young. Everybody who were young in those days, somebody else handheld them and groomed them well to be that match winner or a leader into that particular role. I think that possibly will create more opportunities for all the other youngsters who we are talking about as a talent to get into that shoe and make it count, because it's an opportunity. And like Sabha and Amola just mentioning, 10 teams offer that opportunity for others to step in and claim. Because if you prove here, the only way is to go up for you now.
Yeah, Sabha, I think you went offline for a bit. We were talking about, Amol was mentioning about...
He goes offline whenever I'm talking. He just keeps going offline. Thanks, Sabha.
There's too much of intellect going around, so I thought it is better if I'm offline for a while.
Sabha, when I called Amol for this show and I said, you are on, he said, can I pull his leg? I said, I don't know about you, but I'm sure he'll pull your leg. So he was...
He doesn't go offline when I'm there.
See, so much of admiration.
So Sabha,
what were you saying, Satish?
Wicketkeeper to wicketkeeper, batsman Dhoni. What makes this man tick? And also Nilesh, after that, is he a subject of study in your curriculum? Is what if he thought he should be. Sabha, where does Dhoni stand now? In the sense, this season he thought he may not play, then he made his announcement just before the final in Dubai that he'll see me back in CSK at the home ground, which of course is again not happening. But how do you see him going this season?
It remains an enigma, Satish, and I feel that he's closely associated, is so attached to CSK, and he wants to contribute as much as possible. Last season,
frozen, right?
I think in the first leg off, and I kept saying that he should come off the order to bat, and one could see the difference. CSK strategy is all about MSD, and whatever I could figure out, MSD says that you get me 2-3 important players, and the rest of the team he will build from whoever you buy. So there is no pressure whatsoever on the team that sits on the auction table. They feel that they need to get 2-3 players. In any case, they have retained 4 players. So get a core team of say about 7 to 8 players, and rest he will manage. And so even if there are any injuries, he has immense faith in the kind of squad the team management picks for him. And I think he has this rare quality to pick the right kind of talent and to support him to grow bigger. because most of the players who played under him, they enjoy the kind of freedom he offers them. And he would do the same when he led the national side. I have seen youngsters grow under him. No wonder, people like Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma and so many other players, Jadeja and Suresh Raina, they talk so highly of him and the way and the kind of environment he created. He believes that you should allow a player the requisite freedom for him to excel, because he himself has grown up on that. I've seen him from a very young age. So I know the kind of environment he wants to create in the dressing room. And I feel that he believes in creating the perfect kind of an environment where players are allowed to excel on their own.
I think that was very well put, Sabha. I completely agree. Yeah, Amol.
Just to touch upon that point about CSK, Satish, they haven't seen the world beyond Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Mahendra Singh Dhoni has been the driving factor ever since, IPL has begun for CSK. Now, this is the time, this is the season. I feel they need to look the world beyond Dhoni and what it would look like and start building on it, because it's very important, and it will be very interesting as well for the world to see what it takes to be a franchise without having Mahendra Singh Dhoni in their lineup. So it's interesting, not just with the team, but also with the franchise to look beyond Mahendra Singh Dhoni and build a team which will take them forward in the next 5 years. It will be a litmus test, mind you.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting because Dhoni, we have had one experiment done when he was at the T20 World Cup side, on the sidelines as a coach or whatever, mentor or something. So the tournament didn't go too well. So we don't know the role exactly that Dhoni played, but on field with gloves on, he's a different entity, I guess. So that's something that I think you got a great point, both of you actually. Namal, I'm sure CSK has to look at it. So Nilesh, quickly before I come to the end of the show, is there a Dhoni chapter in your curriculum?
Not the chapter for sure, but the strategies most definitely. Because the way he leads the side, the way he empowers, the way he shoulders responsibilities, the way he gives confidence to youngsters like Sabha and Amol mentioned, whatever you can see, leadership lesson. A perfect leader who leads by example, by empowering, by giving right confidence. And I believe Amol and Sabha has better access than me with regards to this. But I believe the MS Dhoni's meetings are like 2 and 5 minutes. Vis-a-vis the other teams take 3 hours or 1 hour or 2 hours meetings. His meetings are like finished in 2 to 5 minutes and everything happens on the field. So that's the kind of leader he is. And for me, the critical thinking, the crisis management, all these topics which you actually use as part of your jargons into management, he implements that on the field without paying too much attention, because he's such a reactive person. His analysis, his acumen to understand the situation, read that situation is nearly perfect. So which actually separates him from the other leaders. And for me, he's a brilliant example for others to follow. And I think that itself, what Amol just now mentioned, it'll be interesting to see the life after MS Dhoni into CSK's wings, because he will play a role, but in cricket a captain actually takes calls, not the managers so much, whereas on football the managers takes most of the calls and the captain just follows.
Yeah.
And I think Satish, I recall an incident which was narrated to me by Michael Hussey. We were doing a course together in Hong Kong, and he narrated an incident during the days when Michael Hussey was with CSK. He said before an important game, I think they were on the verge of being knocked out for the qualifiers. So when the team steps onto the field, before that they have a huddle. So everybody got into the huddle, and MSD was the captain. And he said, guys, our fair play, that point system at that point of time, CSK was low on the order. So he says, well, in the fair play we have to go up the order. That is all. And they went on to the field.
So he knows how to handle the situation.
So that's the kind of leadership skills which MSD has. He doesn't want to put any pressure on the players.
I read one thing long back, Sabha, that the Indian team was one of the hotels. Dhoni's door is open and he's sitting in the corridor, and all the guys are sitting just in a thing outside, casually on the floor, and kind of a team meeting is going on. And that's he said that was the most formal meeting that they had. The others were even worse. Very interesting the way he did things. Okay, guys, it's been an amazing 40 odd minutes. I'm going to put you all on the mat, just before we call it off. We can, I'm sure, go on and on, especially pulling each other's legs. And you three are absolutely amazing. But I want to put on your, what do you say, guessing hat, as to say.
Right, and Saba should not go offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 semi-finalists. The 4 semi-finalists starting with you, Amol. So Saba is still online now.
Sorry?
The 4 semi-finalists in your estimation.
Okay, Rajasthan Royals. I would put my neck out Punjab. Punjab. I would like to see one of the new franchise come into the knockouts or the playoffs. That's Lucknow. And the 4th one, I would still want to see. This year, I would like to see RCB doing well.
Oh,
so it's RCB, Rajasthan Royals, Punjab, and Lucknow.
God, you've forgotten Delhi Capitals. Amol, come on. Terrible.
He has not forgotten Rajasthan Royals. That's his.
See,
team.
God, man.
Very controversially, he's forgotten one team. We will not get into it.
I just forgot Saba Karim was online.
I'm not even referring to Saba's team. Something closer to what I'm referring to.
There was a lot of thinking, Saba, over there, as you can.
Was there any thinking?
Nilesh,
I'll give Saba the last word. So you, Nilesh.
Okay. My four is I would be interesting. I'll be interested to see Delhi, of course, not being because Saba, but they've managed to retain a good core. I would feel CSK still has the brain of MSD to be qualified for playoffs. Lucknow is one team which I feel has a very good potential to be into that playoffs, and I would want to see Lucknow. And fourth, from a completely surprise package, I believe KKR should have that edge this edition.
All right, I sort of agree with the KKR part. I mean, we're all guessing. We're not really guessing, and there's a lot of intelligence going into you guys. I usually guess. Saba, your take, your most intelligent take.
Just with the mere fact that the number of teams have gone from 8 to 10, which means the 4 semi-finalists of the playoffs is not going to be an easy task for any of the side. So there'll be more competition, more intense competition, unlike previous season.
Come on, Saba, don't be diplomatic.
No.
I will give you
playoff teams.
Come on, Saba, let's be honest. Let's get the names.
Going off at the right time.
Yeah, he's speaking at the right time.
We'll wait for it.
You should not let him go out of this, Satish.
Yeah, we'll wait for it.
See, he's again going off.
We'll wait for the car to come to the right spot. No, Saba, we're not going anywhere.
Saba has picked up his moment for his car to be at the right time at the right place. Not to be.
I think he pre-planned it, where the car should be. No camera zone type, so no Wi-Fi zone.
How was that call? Beforehand, I said, don't let Saba Karim go offline on this.
Yes, Saba, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I go back to CSK, I go to MI, I go to Delhi Capitals, and I'm looking at Lucknow Super Giants.
Okay.
Yeah, these are my 4 teams because I feel that all these 4 teams, they do have some core match winners, and I expect such cricketers to excel in a big event like the IPL.
Okay. And I think next RCB coach is going to be Amol because he's the only one who had RCB in the playoffs. A lot of RCB fans themselves are not saying.
Well, Amol's choices are always tinged with his future vision. So he's always looking at opportunities from such IPL team. That is why he's named Rajasthan Royals. He's named Lucknow Super Giants, and which other team, Amol?
RCB was third.
No, you said that
RCB.
that you were very pleased that there are a lot of Indian captains, Indian domestic captains in the IPL teams. Now, next stage is the Indian coaches taking over head coach's job. In the IPL.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That has to happen.
I'm excited. I really want to see Indian coaches coming into the picture. Not only the coaches, but also the support staff. I want more and more Indians to come through.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, on that note, very, very big thank you to all of you. I know quite busy lives. Extremely grateful for you to have taken time off. All the best in all that you guys do. And Amol, good season ahead. If you come to Bangalore, we'll catch up for the knockouts.
Sure.
Sabha, Nilesh, we'll be in touch. Thank you both. And Sabha, thank you for suggesting, fellow panelists' names also. Nilesh is the one who said, why don't you get in touch with Nilesh? So immediately.
Very kind. Thank you, Sabha.
Thanks, Sabha. We are all blessed to have your presence.
Absolutely. Yeah, you better be, guys.
And you can go offline now in a couple of minutes.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good season, Sabha.
I'd like to thank my colleague Ankita also. Like to thank my colleague Ankita also and the audience, our members for having joined us. I hope they had a good time. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, everyone. Ankita, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Over, madam.